Order, and the mic is on. And let me just note that when you are speaking through a microphone, you are utilizing energy that is produced some way by someone at some cost. So I call this meeting to order, and today's topic is cyber attacks, an unprecedented threat to national security. After the ranking member and I each take 5 minutes to make opening remarks, each member present will have 1 minute to make their opening remarks, alternating between majority and minority. And without objection, all members may have 5 days to submit statements, questions, and extraneous material for the record, and hearing no objection, so ordered. There have been several congressional hearings on cyber warfare, but most have concentrated on the technology involved and how we can devise defenses to block hackers from breaking into our government and business computers. The greatest danger to our nation, the greatest dangers, however, are not really about technology. It's about international relations. Foreign governments that employ cyber warriors to attack other countries, or which allow hackers to attack other countries in their behalf. And what is we talking about? We're talking about something that should be considered as a hostile government action against another act. It's as if the government was supporting terrorism if they support the same type of aggression, cyber aggression. These acts, which put our country in severe jeopardy, must be met with the same national security and diplomatic measures that we use to meet other external threats. The type of targets hackers assault are often placed in two categories. Strategic targets are those which would be attacked by military means in a war. For example, transportation systems, power grids, defense industries, communications, and government centers. In China, Iran, North Korea, and Russia have all used cyber attacks aimed at strategic infrastructure targets, targets that would be attacked in another way if there was a war. In January, Iran conducted probing attacks on U.S. banks. Such potential damaging and brazen attacks on the United States should provoke a much more aggressive and powerful response than we are currently exercising. We should deter, not just to try to block, but we should deter cyber attacks and perhaps counterattack. More insidious, however, is the ongoing attacks on our economy by the Chinese, among others. This second form of attack is in the form of commercial warfare. The scale upon which it is being conducted is beyond anything we have experienced and far exceeds traditional espionage. And I guess I will go on with this statement, yes. The and how do you pronounce this? Mandate? Mandiant. The Mandiant report, which came out last month, identified a unit of the Chinese People's Liberation Army that has been conducting commercial warfare since 2006. A military unit hacking business and industry targets, then we have a situation where these targets play a central role in the economy of one nation and has a lot to do with the balance of power between the nations. So you have a Chinese People's Liberation Army involved in an attack that has a lot to do with the power between our countries, and it's a cyber attack. The commander of U.S. Cyber Command, Keith Alexander, estimated last year that computer hacking from overseas cost the American economy $250 billion a year. He called it the greatest transfer of wealth in history. The Mandiant study found that the targets, quote, match industries that China has identified as strategic for their growth, including 4 of the 7 strategic emerging industries that China has identified as part of its 12th five-year plan. The Chinese firms that compete in these industries are dominated by state-owned enterprise which ties Communist Party officials and their families to this crime against the United States and others throughout the world. It is a matrix that not only serves to grow the wealth and power of China, but also the personal fortunes of its leaders. Yet, even this is only the tip of the iceberg. The transfer of wealth by the theft of technology and other information vital to the development of industry is then used to gain a competitive advantage in world trade, which brings even more wealth to China. Over the last 10 years, that's 2003 to 2012, the United States trade deficit in goods with China totaled over $2.4 trillion. Entire industries have been moved across the Pacific to create what we see as the rise of China. Well, we cannot just rely on technology to defend against these type of attacks. We must use diplomacy to deter them by telling Beijing and others in clear terms that we will not allow their hacking to continue without retaliation. We should sanction states that support hacking just as we sanction states that support terrorism or engage in other hostile actions. This war will not just be waged in cyberspace, but across every front and using every lever of American power to defeat an aggressor and to take the profit out of attacking our businesses, our defenses, and yes, our country. With that, I would turn to Mr. Keating for his opening remarks.
Well, thank you, Mr. Chairman, and thank you for holding today.